Thank you, my brother Ladu, or as I call you, little brother Ladu, but he's not little anymore. He was little when I met him. Thank you very much. And it's wonderful to see all of you. I welcome those of you that traveled. I met a few of you that came from as far as Maine. And I think I saw a gentleman who traveled from Canada. I'm a little embarrassed by my own neighbors here in Minneapolis who are coming after somebody who traveled from Canada. But that's how it goes sometimes. Ladies and gentlemen, my brothers and sisters, I don't have a lot to say. I would like to welcome you to Minneapolis, which is my second home. And I also would like to welcome you specifically to this conference. And as we start, I thought of what I was going to say. As my brother Ladu said, we have been in this town for a while. We have talked about Africa a lot. We have tried to do things. We have achieved some, we have failed to achieve some. So sometimes you feel like there's nothing left to say. But I'm here to tell you today that there's a lot to talk about, specifically about South Sudan. I will introduce myself. You probably can tell already that we are neighbors. We are neighbors to the south. I am from Kenya. Specifically, I'm from Nyamira County, which is just about 90 miles east of Lake Victoria. So you can imagine where that is. It's on the west side of Kenya. I practice law, which I've done for quite a while. I became an advocate of the High Court of Kenya back in 1996. So don't let my looks deceive you. I've been around. I run the transatlantic law firm, which focuses on what we call economic justice and the movement of people and resources across the world. And we hope that we do that with an eye to justice and respect for human rights. As Brother Ladu said, I am the chairman and president of the New Dawn Foundation. What that really means is that I sit as smart people, discuss, and tell me what to do. So on behalf of the board of the New Dawn Foundation, I welcome you to Minneapolis and welcome you to this conference. My third self-introduction is that come August 9th of 2022, God willing, and the people agreeing, I'll be the next governor of Nyamira County. And in Nyamira County, we are making a very simple proposition. We are saying that after 10 years of evolution, it's now time for new ideas, it's time for a bold vision, and it's time for fresh faces. And I believe that our campaign meets all three. That's the Nyamira part. Coming back to where we're seated here, as I was reflecting about today, I came across a quote by Professor Wole Soyinka that I would like to share with you, if you permit me. And I'll quote, "When a nation cannot be defined by an ideal, a purpose, or direction, it becomes nothing but a cameo of personalities." End quote. Professor Soyinka was talking about Nigeria. I submit to you He could very easily have been talking about South Sudan.
All right.
He could very easily have been talking about Kenya. Because when we do not have higher ideals as a nation, then it becomes who is in power, who's out of power, who's in jail, who's out of jail. My request to you is that as we seek peace, let's not do that just because it's peace. Let's seek peace because it's an ideal that would guarantee that our children in South Sudan are going to school, that our business people are free to engage in their craft. So this for us is not just an idle gathering, another conference and another discussion. It's deeper than that. It's a pursuit of a purpose and an ideal. The opening, our MC said we're here to dialogue. Yes, let's dialogue. We're also here to share the optimism that peace can and will come to South Sudan.
All right.
I don't believe we have a choice, because the absence of peace is exactly what we don't want. When there is absence of peace in South Sudan, the impact of that sits right outside your garage in Maine. You cannot escape it. So we have no choice but to seek peace. And so we have to challenge ourselves to act. Just a quick word about our host organization, the New Dawn Foundation and Trust. Our mission is simple, and our tagline is, we are building global partnerships for local impact. And what that means is that all the people that we have been blessed to meet along the journey. I met Mr. Ladu in 1999, and since 1999, we've been engaging at different levels. I'm sure each one of you has similar stories. You've met people from different walks of life. How beautiful would it be that we use those connections for the benefit of our people? And I already see that today. So the New Dawn Foundation is a registered charity under Section 501c of the Internal Revenue Code. And as I said, we think of ourselves as so blessed that we can bless the rest of Africa. So we started programs that touch on 4 African countries. South Sudan is one of them, so now you see why we are here. Kenya is one of them, which is why we are running the campaign in Nyamira County. And our next programs will be in Liberia and Zimbabwe. We think that Africa's problems can only be solved by the Africans themselves. Let's quit gazing up in the air and hoping and praying for salvation from people elsewhere. Because of that, I want to share just a few statistics that I think you already know. As of 2006, Africa's gross national income was about $980 billion US. That placed it 10th in the whole world, which means if Africa was a country, it would be ahead of India, to be ahead of China, to be ahead of Russia. And yet, Africa has some of the poorest people the world has ever seen. Where is the disconnect? That's what you're here to deliberate. Why are the South Sudanese people wealthy in natural resources, and we have children walking naked in Juba? I don't have an answer for you. Another statistics, to find it funny, but here we have to say, Africa is actually a continent of 53 countries. And no, those who say Africa is a country, it's not. It's a continent of 53. 1 billion people who need to eat, sleep, and travel, which means Africa has tremendous opportunity. If you want to make money, you don't try to make money in the US. The Chinese have figured that out, and maybe we should too. The other statistic is that Africa is the youngest continent in the world. Almost half of the African population is under 50. That means that managed well, we have the world's greatest resource, which is human beings.
Yes.
Who's still saying Africa is poor? One thing that I wanted to mention here with a sense of pride is Africa is actually the land of innovation. In Kenya today, if you wanted to buy anything, you don't carry money. Kenya is the home and origin of M-Pesa, which has transformed how we transact. If I wanted to buy my brother lunch in a Mad World restaurant right now in Amira County, I'll do it from my phone. I'll not even need to leave the podium. That was invented and has changed Kenya, and it's done by Africans. I just want to tell you that when we have peace and opportunity, Africa will be the greatest place on earth. Some of you have heard of the concept of Pan-Africanism. And as we deliberate during these 2 days, I want us to reflect on what that may possibly mean. And in this one, I would like to mention a gentleman that some of you may have heard of. His name is His Excellency Raila Amolo Odinga, who may be the next president of Kenya in August. Honorable Odinga was in Washington, D.C. 2 weeks ago, and he spoke to an audience and he said, there are two types of Pan-Africans. There are people who think Africa is a gone case. He calls them Afro-pessimists. And there are people who think Africa holds tremendous untapped potential, and he calls those Afro-optimists. As this conference goes on, please ask yourself, which one are you? Are you one that believes that Africa will be greater than it is? Or are you one that would rather not be bothered, not even watching African news? That's a decision I think you make for yourself. For myself, I choose to believe that the sun will shine again. All the way from Cairo to Cape Town, from Harare to Abuja, from Nairobi to Monrovia, and everywhere in between. I believe in Africa. And for that reason, I'm an Afro-optimist. As specifically about South Sudan, I prefer not to tell you about South Sudan. There's nothing you don't know about South Sudan. Just to mention that if we did nothing, and if there was no peace in South Sudan, then all the things that we are afraid of, war, conflict, and all that, would continue prevailing, and some of us will never have peace. For as long as there is no peace over there, there is no peace within ourselves. And we also probably want to remember that violence and war is a losing game, even for those who think they win.
Right.
There are no winners in conflict.
That's right.
As Mahatma Gandhi said, an eye for an eye makes everybody blind. We don't want to be blind. As we start this conference, my hope and prayer is that we take the responsibility of building peace as a personal obligation. I'd like to draw your attention to the logo of the New Dawn Foundation, which is on your name tags. if you look at it carefully, it's a pair of hands holding the sun. What it means is that we need to marshal courage to hold light with our own hands. It's not going to be easy. The sun is incredibly hot. So to be able to hold it like that, you have to be either crazy or courageous. I think we are courageous. I think we can do it. We can bring light to Africa by our own hands. Finally, I wanted to mention something that I borrowed from the late President Nelson Mandela. And on reflecting as to how difficult it is to actually make peace, here's what he said. He said, if you want to make peace with your enemy, you have to work with your enemy.
All right.
Then he becomes your partner. End of quote. So my message to all of us, it's not that we have enemies, but we have those that are responsible for the absence of peace. We have to work with them. We have to make them our partners. Because when peace comes to South Sudan, it's not going to just one village or one town or one street. Peace, like the sun, shines on all of us. With those very many remarks, it's now my privilege to declare, not that you needed a declaration, but to declare that the 2022 International Conference on Building the Roadblocks for Peace in South Sudan be open, and wish you best of deliberations. Thank you very much.